It's green and we are underway at Whilton Mill. It's a good getaway.
Welcome to this episode of Racing Dean, which is the season opener of the GX UK Championship. Today we're at Whilton Mill, where there are tons of places to overtake at Christmas, into the boot, and generally all over the rest of the track. This video starts on Sunday. This is my nice little hotel in the top of a pub where they serve very good food. And we joined this video on the grid of the B final.
James, did you say 2 lots?
And so far, this day, on Sunday, I've done a grand total of 6 laps before the B final. So the question is, how did we get here? Well, this video actually starts a bit earlier in the season, where I am reallocating some funds. I decided to sell my turntables. So we are here at Red Lodge, and in a weird twist of fate, I've just sold my turntables to that man there. So I've come for a bit of go-karting practice, and I've also shifted 2 decks and 2 speakers, my old mixer, such as a new shiny helmet. But how did I get here in the B final, in my second year of GX UK, where I really should be in the A final? Well, the more astute of you may have noticed that is not last year's go-kart. I took last year's go-kart to get straightened and powder coated, and somewhere in the process it kind of went missing at the powder coaters, which really forced my hand into getting another go-kart just in case. So here we are with my new used OTK Cosmic go-kart. It's quite satisfying when it bounces back.
Yeah. Just watching the car getting...
And I'm actually at a place called ASR Fabrications, working with a chap called Tony, who is straightening out the chassis. So you can see there on the jigging table, he is making it straight. But still, how does that explain why I'm here in the B final, starting on the 5th row? So the other thing I wanted to do this season was work out which of my engines is the better engine. I've got 2 engines, a GXT and a Monkey, and I took them to Jeff at Procart Engineering, put them both on the dyno, and what you can see is there's 2 lines, a blue line and a red line, and the blue line is the GXT, and it has got more peak power and more bottom end grunt than my Monkey. So, problem solved, I had a best engine. However, in the first lap of the track, in my new to me go-kart with my most powerful GXT engine, I did not have any oil. So I seized up that engine, and I would have to spend the rest of the weekend using my Monkey. So I think that's pretty much all of the equipment excuses out the way, but does that still explain why I'm here in the B final? Well, not quite, because the other thing to say is that the GX UK grid was absolutely rammed this year. In actual fact, there were around 60 entries, enough for 2 finals, a packed A final and a packed B final. And all that is to say is that if you make any mistakes in the heats, which I did, it would be hard to get a place in the A final. And then even harder to qualify from the B final to the A final because of the number of entrants. So here we are in my first heat, which is actually on this Saturday, and we're starting about 3 rows back from the front, and in front we've got someone called Arlie Dobson, and just in front of me this car here, 96, just gets things a little bit wrong under braking and slides out of my way, and that puts me in a rather tasty 4th position. So we've got Adam Holloway up in front. The BPR guys were pretty swift this weekend. They seem to be very well suited to the Whilton Mill track. So I know that he's roughly the kind of pace that I want to be. but we've got these two other drivers, 88 and 36. 88 is Jaden Nichols, who are a little bit slower, and the problem becomes, how do I get past those before the rest of the pack catches me? And you can see here that 88 and 36 kind of touch each other, and then I touch them, and that kills my momentum. And that was an opportunity that I really should have taken advantage of, but I don't manage to get past them. So I go a bit defensive as we go up towards Christmas, and don't manage to get a move done there. These two are squabbling, and in hindsight I wish I had done a better job of getting past them. Someone who is doing a better job of getting past them is Lewis Jones, and here he goes flying past me. He would go on to win this heat. He was flying all weekend, so that's really a masterclass in how to get the job done. So I'm going to cut away here to some footage from Brad Philpott. His YouTube channel is storming.
And we're going to use him to work our way forward, because he's not afraid to go for a move, and that's opening doors for us. He's up behind Simon Dean there, Racing Dean on YouTube. Look at that. I love the way he went for that move down the inside there. He really looked for a way through, created an opportunity that wasn't there without that extra effort. So let's go with him. I like his style.
So as described by Brad, someone else has done the hard work and has pushed past me, and I'm now behind Brad. So I'm thinking to myself now, probably a smart move is to try and stick with Brad. Now, something that happened to me after the race is that Army Phil came up to me and he said, Simon, you shouldn't go defensive, you should try and move forwards, you should try and go forwards the whole time. And actually, looking back at this footage, I really have taken that to heart, because I was defending the whole time. In actual fact, I think I should have been trying to go forwards. We got Matt, what is your name? Matt number 2 has just gone past me, and another guy, we've got a BPR guy who's gone past me as well, number 81, so that's Sam Hooper, Matt Roberts that was. So I have lost a handful of positions here, and as I was saying, really what I should have been doing was trying to go forwards and not go defensive. Army Phil said, look, if there's a faster driver behind you, they're going to get past you, so all you're doing is slowing everyone down by going defensive. And at this stage in the race, we had a couple of slower cars up in front, so my job that I had to get done was actually to get past those guys as quickly as possible without letting the rest of the field behind me catch up, and that is what I didn't do. That said, I've kind of found a bit more of my rhythm now. I don't know what it is about my races, but sometimes it takes me a couple of laps to get into the swing of things. But now I feel like I've got my groove a bit more, and we've got good pace behind these guys. So we're going to see if we can get the move done, sticking behind Sam. No, we can't. Don't manage to get it done here. So this is the story of my race. Is just getting a little bit stuck, not being able to be forceful enough with those moves to make up the positions to move forwards. Whoosh, and there goes Ash and Army Phil. They swarmed me into that corner. I was going defensive to try and stop Ash coming through, but I let him through actually by pulling out into the middle of the track, and he went past, and then Army Phil managed to get through as well. This is probably what prompted Army Phil to come up to me afterwards and say, you know, either defend or don't defend, but don't defend then not defend. So finally we make it up to 36, and I'm actually going to do the move that happened to me so many times this weekend, which is the driver on the inside goes defensive, I go on the outside and get the move done into the boot. And I wish I'd done that a bit more often, because I lost several places this weekend by going defensive into the boot. I think it just goes to show that if you do go defensive, you lose so much speed through that corner, it opens up the opportunity for someone else to come up the inside. So we've got one lap to go in the rest of this heat, and we are able to close onto the back of these guys. So it kind of goes to show that my pace wasn't too bad this weekend. My kind of issue is actually moving through the traffic, so it's something to work on for this year. So in practice sessions, if you see me trying to do some crazy move on you, this is why I'm using those practice sessions to practice. So we've got right on the back of Sam Hooper again here, Team BPR. He's got a lovely new, I don't know if the go-kart's new, but all the bodywork and all that kind of stuff is new. Looks very smart. So we come into the final time onto the start-finish straight, and my position in this race would be 11th. So I didn't get any footage from my second race because my camera ran out of storage, and here we are on Sunday for my only race on Sunday before the final. And I'm starting in around about 18th or 19th, quite near the back of the grid.
And the first race of today will commence. It's green and we are underway at Whilton Mill. It's a good getaway from the head of the boat. There's two carts off already though at turn number one.
We can see there's a crash. So I'm just going to show you that from my view. So there is me going into the back of Paul's and Itachi, but if you look at the slow motion, you can see my head goes up there as I get hit from behind. I got a real shunt, which then pushed me into Paul. Now, two things happened here. Three things probably. Well, Paul went off, but I really can't say that's my fault because I got shunted so hard from behind. In hitting Paul, my front bumper has now gone skew with, so I can see now that as I'm braking, my cart's not handling properly under braking. But also what happened on the back is my bumper came off. And at this point I've realised something's wrong, and then bosh! I get hit by Elliot Price. There's another angle. And what that does is it forces on my accelerator. So I have to come into the pits for two reasons. One is my accelerator is stuck on, but the other reason is my bumper fell off on the back. So all in all, this was an eventful and short-lived race for me.
Bit of bad luck.
Yeah.
One word answer pretty much sums it up for me. So there you have it. That explains why I am starting in the B final in around about 11th place.
We head round again, don't forget it's the first two that go through to the A final.
Here they are over the line to start the B final, and we are green.
So fairly clean through the first corner. We've got Joe Harris there on the inside, I'm on the outside. I'm going to give him plenty of space and just use the outside of the track, and I managed to get past him with not too much trouble, and we're now on the back of this pack. So the car directly in front is number 83, who's Ben Webster. So I'm going to do my absolute very best to see if I can plug myself onto those guys. You can see here that I'm just driving very tentatively on these opening laps. Maybe I haven't got my tyres in well enough or whatever, but the theme for my weekend, as well as the previous theme, which was I need to be more aggressive in making moves, is I need to get kind of quicker out of the blocks. But what I have found is that when I've got someone directly in front of me, I go faster. And I don't think that's just a question of slipstream. I think it's actually something to do with having a kart to really kind of lock my sights on and to follow close in to kind of like zero in my attention and kind of see where they're braking and brake a bit later and all the rest of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip forward a few laps, and we've got Leo Engels, who's just made a move. So he said, let's work together, and I'm like, fine, let's basically doing exactly what I just said. Let's see if we can go faster when there's another kart directly in front of me. So I'm carefully watching all the things that he's doing, maybe using a little bit more track because I'm seeing the track that he's using. So nicely through that corner into the boot we go, and we are going to start closing up on that group of karts just in front of us. Through the little wiggle over the monster curb, he takes a lot more of it than I do, and let's have a go down the back straight and see if we can close in on these guys. So here we are just a lap later, and Joe Engels has done all the hard work and he's managed to close us up on the back of that group. So we've got Max Andrews and we've got Ben Webster in this little pack just in front of us, and now we're starting to bustle up as a team. There's 3 karts who are up the road in front. That's Ash, who had to retire from one of his heats, and he's got 2 other karts with him. Antti Cassels is one of them, and then we're kind of in this race here for 4th place.
7-kart battle for 4th position, which is headed up by Luke Dolby. We've got Frankie Taylor, Max Andrews, Ben Webster, Leo Engels, Simon Dean and Elliot Brook. An amazing battle between those 7. Anthony Cassels, who's running in P3, his place drop would demote him to 9th.
So here we go, we're in the slipstream behind Ben Webster. He moves to the side, I get the move done. And in front, look at this.
Going for it on Luca Dolby. There was contact at Christmas corner. Oh, that's a car up in the air. That's the 24 Leo Engels, who posted the fast lap of the race on the last saw. Well, that race could have ended horribly for him.
Again, this is the thing that happens to me. So I lose my momentum because I'm stuck behind Leo here. And then there, we've got Ben Webster, who's managed to get through by taking the slightly more racing line, and he's got that done. And another car has got by, which is number 70 as well. So by just being in the wrong track position there, I've lost 2 places, not onto the final lap. Now, I've seen this happen to quite a few drivers through the course of this weekend. Even in the A final, Brad had something similar where he lost a bunch of places, because sometimes if you're just on the wrong part of the track at the wrong time, because someone's going to stay in front of you and you can't actually get back onto the track that you want to go to, you lose a bunch of places. And that's what's happened to me. But even though I've not managed to get to the front of this B final and get into the A final, I've actually had more laps today than the rest of the day put together so far. So only 6 laps going into this race, and I managed to do about 8 or 9 laps in this race, so that was cool. And I've actually had a race.
Comes to that in a moment as they come out of the last corner now, and it's going to be victory in the B final for Ash Condola. Both he and Ethan Hall will go through to the main final later. Anthony Cassels' 3rd place will drop into 9th with those 2 penalties. So it's Luca Dolby who goes to the podium, but he will be heading home.
Even though the weekend as a whole wasn't fantastic, And even though I didn't manage to get into the A final through doing really well in the B final, I still leave with a bit more of a spring in my step, because at least I've had a good tussle with some people. I always like to leave a weekend not feeling like I've been a dick as well, and I didn't run any people off the road, so that's always a nice feeling. So a lot to learn really from this first outing in the new go-kart with what would transpire to be the second best engine. But I look forward to seeing you all at Clay Pigeon, and we've got 1 month to go, and we'll see you there. If you've made it this far, why not consider subscribing to the channel? It would help me get to the all-important 500 followers, which is where you can monetize your channel. So a fair way to go yet, but you know, might get there by the end of the season. Thanks for watching and see you soon.